as members of the EU, we impose massive tariffs on agricultural produce from the rest of the world, outside of the EU, on dairy products, beef products, all sorts of things coming in, even coffee coming in from Africa and so on. Would it not be sensible, as we leave the EU, just to get rid of these tariffs and see the price of food fall, which would be a huge advantage to poorer people in this country?
Quite right. It would be an 8 billion injection into the British economy. The average family would be over £300 a year better off. And there'd be huge advantages for, as you mentioned, coffee. I mean, Germany earns far more money from coffee, because processed coffee, because Africans, if they process coffee, have to pay an even higher duty.
Then they pay the higher tariff.
Yeah, so you're quite right. There will be huge gains on that. The counter to that is we will have to have a world competitive industry. Well, in some areas we do. We have the world record for wheat production per acre. We are not allowed to embrace some technologies by the European Union, so we should change the emphasis on the precautionary principle, which basically is don't get out of bed in the morning in case you bang a head on the doorknob and fall downstairs, and embrace modern technology. So somewhere like France, for instance, if it had the same efficiency as the United States in maize production, would use 1.9 million tonnes more maize, or, on the environment, would free up 150,000 hectares for recreation. So that is the answer, is to go absolutely full bore using the latest technologies which will help the environment, and to encourage our farmers to diversify, as happened in New Zealand, and to follow whatever the best food product is suited to their farm. You then look at countries like Switzerland, where there is very significant subsidy for public goods. So environmental benefits provided by farmers in Switzerland are provided mainly by livestock farming, which on the food production level looks insanely expensive, but provides the benefit of maintaining the environment, so they have a huge tourism industry. So there's all sorts of public goods, obviously biodiversity, flora, fauna,
right. But what should matter
water
more?
quality. Well, the two go together.
No, I haven't finished the question yet. What should matter more for a Conservative government? Trying to reduce the price of food in the supermarkets, which benefits people on average and below average incomes, or placating the farm lobby, because they're not going to like a tariff.
No, you do both. So you take advantage of coming out of the customs union, the common external tariff. That benefits every single citizen in the country. Everybody's better off with cheaper food. You then say,
only if the tariffs are cut.
Yeah. You then say, how does that affect our farming industry? We know there are certain sectors of the farming industry can be well competitive, and certainly will be if we're allowed to use modern technology. You then say there's going to be areas like the hills, there'll be marginal areas where you cannot compete at well food prices, but there is a significant public good provided by the environmental benefits, etc., on which, for instance, sits a 30 billion rural tourism industry. And that, it is completely justified giving significant public money. So the Swiss pay more per head than we do under the CAP. Don't forget, under the CAP, we've been spending, what's it, just 2.9 billion, just under 3 billion. Our food self-sufficiency has gone down, and our environmental outputs have gone down, because it's a very broad blanket system of subsidy, which does not work.
But out of the EU, do we continue multi-billion-pound subsidies to the farming industry?
Not for direct food production.
Not?
No. That is the clear lesson from New Zealand.
Is that your view, or the... Yeah, I know, I'm interested. Okay. New Zealand is an interesting... Is that your view, or is it the Conservative view?
That is my clearly expressed view.
This is your view, which is not party politics, because farmers watching this may be rather worried by what you're saying.
I talk to farmers the whole time, and when I explain this, people understand where I'm going, because there's another side to it, which has just been touched on in that clip, with Michael talking about exports. We've got 1 billion people hungry as we speak this morning. We're going to add 2 billion to the world population. And there's a huge increase in standards of living around the world. There are massive opportunities for us to export. So the quid pro quo, if we're going to be at world prices, there'll be many sort of middle-of-the-road products like mince or something like that, which will suffer against world prices. To counter that, you've got to get into the premium product countries, such as India for Scotch whisky, such as China for certain meat products, and get the premium. So that all ties in. That's why you absolutely have got to leave the customs union, so we can rapidly get on and negotiate these trade deals.
You must have noticed that the European Commission, I think only yesterday, floated the idea of reducing the amount of money spent on the CAP, on the Common Agricultural Policy, in order to divert money elsewhere to make up for the money they'll lose when Britain leaves. That must
well, the Commission is furious with us, because they're going to be 10 billion short. And we know that the new entrant countries, so the communist countries came from Eastern Europe. They came in at a very low rate of subsidy compared to the established countries, Benelux,
Like
France,
and so on.
Germany. And I was negotiating for the last CAP round, and you could see this row coming down the track when they're going to try and level up. And there will be a huge row this time, and thank goodness we're going to be out of it, because what we can do is tailor an agricultural and environment policy to our own industry.
Do you think in doing that, if you got your way, that in, say, 10, 15 years from now, we'd still be paying in much in subsidies to British farmers as we do now?
But we'll be getting very clear, transparent goods for it. Yes, I can see us still paying quite a lot of money for the hill areas, for the marginal areas,
But for
the public goods,
environmental
for
reasons,
environmental
rather
benefits.
than food
It's
production.
got to be transparent. Yeah, but if you stop subsidising food, you also get environmental benefits. So the New Zealanders, for instance, they had 70 million woolly, raggedy things called sheep running around the hills, doing terrible soil erosion, creating water pollution. They couldn't sell them anywhere. They had to turn some of them into fertiliser. They stopped subsidies, and you do not have to copy New Zealand in doing so brutally. We have got time for a transition, as the NFU quite rightly say. They've now got 21 million sheep, and they export about the same amount of meat.
So bad news for sheep.
No, healthy sheep and a
But
healthy
fewer of
environment.
them.
No, healthier, much healthier, better, larger, fatter, more robust sheep, and a much better
So
environment.
good news for sheep.
Good news for sheep.